Okay, this is my second attempt to explain what happened in a condensed form, because I don't feel like people are going to want to listen to me talk for 2 hours. I just don't know how to shorten it because it's so much. Today I changed my clothes just now and I put on chapstick. That is the extent of how much effort I wanted to put into my appearance, because I thought of going to go take a shower down at the pool because I don't have electricity or water where I live, and getting ready and putting on nice clothes and like trying to make a nice video somewhere where it looked better than this little tiny cabin that I have, this little box that I live in. And I don't need to be ashamed of my life right now. I had my whole life taken away from me, and it wasn't my fault, and I'm trying really hard to get it back. So I cry a lot, and it's hard for me to get out of bed, and I got all these jobs, and then actually just lost one. Long story. I was in the bathroom too long, but I got like 3 jobs in 1 month, and I'm trying everything I can to get my life back in order. And it is so hard to get out of bed every day when the thing that used to wake you up is not there anymore. And it's not that he's gone, it's that he's somewhere else. Not with me, not with his mother. And I have these 3 that I'm so grateful to have back in my life. But we're not complete. We're a 7-man wolf pack, including me. I have 6 of them all together, and 3 of them are still gone. Long story short, I was taken to a mental hospital because, depending on your perspective, I was either going crazy or having some kind of enlightenment process happen, or speaking to aliens or God or something, because something magical happened to me, and I've tried to explain it in multiple videos, and it's just never going to sound sane, and I don't care. So those people who want to listen to that, they can listen to the long video. I can't explain what happened to me, but it started as me wanting to change something about the government and how women are treated and how the children in Honduras were separated from their families, and I wanted so badly to just bring light to like a whole bunch of things, and I wanted to do it in a way that kids could understand. And there's a few reasons why I wanted to do this. One was to actually apply to go to school at a university in Arizona. They had a teacher's program where if you applied to be in it, they would pay for your tuition, and basically I wanted to show a science experiment that was also a social experiment, and I wanted children to be the representatives, like the ones answering the questions, because I wanted to see from their perspective what they thought was going on in the world. And it was a really good idea, and anyway, it started with a whole bunch of different things, and then I kind of went off and made my own separate thing that was intended for adults, but in the form of a way a child would speak, and in text or in hashtag form. I made it into a group text message, and I sent it out, and I thought that people would understand where I was coming from and what it was, like how they did back in the olden days with chain mails, and Apparently I just made a lot of people freaked out, and that was not my intention. But I was trying to prove a point that, like the game of telephone, you say one thing, and then one person gets that information, and then the next person gets that information, and by the end, it's something completely different, and that's just how judging people works, and that's why we shouldn't do it. And I am a really good representation of someone who is judged a lot, I think. A lot of people think I'm crazy. I mean, especially after being in mental hospital, I guess that's what most people would say. But the people who really know me in my life hopefully don't think that. I have just always had a different way of seeing the world, and I'm very, very passionate for animals and for people. And I just want to save the planet. That's what I've wanted to do my whole life. So I came to this God-forsaken island in the middle of the ocean almost 3 years ago, and it has literally been trying to kick me off ever since I got here. And I came here with 4 dogs who were all certified as emotional support animals. Why? Because I'm a crazy person, and because some people actually need them. I was diagnosed with borderline personality disorder following a suicide attempt, but in my opinion it was not that. I was in a lot of mental pain, and for the one and only time in my whole life, I decided to mix some medicine with some alcohol, and I really hurt myself. And it wasn't until a few months ago that I realized it wasn't just me that hurt myself. And this is something that I have to get a lawyer for, but basically I think, well, I know someone next door to me, my landlord, did something to me, and it resulted with me having severe nerve damage in the whole left side of my body, and 3rd-degree burns on my back and my buttocks, and everyone thought that I just did this to myself somehow, and that wasn't true. I remember coming to when I was under the influence of everything that I took, and I remember everything, and then I get to meeting up with the landlord next door, and that was the last thing I remember. And this person was an MMA fighter, very aggressive, would always yell at his girlfriend, yelled at his kids, used to train Marines how to fight. I saw him push his girlfriend into the house once, and yeah, long story short, I realized that the day this all happened was his birthday, and I only just realized this. And so even though it had happened almost 3-4 years ago now, I am still feeling everything from it, because it's not a closed case, because I still don't know what happened to me, and because I am almost certain that this person did horrible things to my body, and I need the right kind of doctors to help me with either hypnosis or some kind of therapy that my brain can remember, because I think because of how much trauma my body was in, I don't remember what happened to me, but my dog, Remedy, did. Just put on my Remedy chapstick that I got in the hospital. I don't know if you can see that. Yeah, Remedy chapstick. This is what got me through the hospital, because I thought that was one of my signs that she was looking out for me. Yeah, my dog used to never have a problem with anyone, and the day that I got out of the hospital, she actually attacked my landlord and, like, bit his hand, because he came out in the middle of the dark and I didn't see him, and she ran off her leash. and she never let him near me after that. She never let him into the fence, but she used to let him pet her through the gate. He was always like friendly with her. He could come through the gate, and it was never a problem. And I started to look back at how I was when I came to and I was able to dial 911. It was definitely not how the house would have been if I would have left it myself, because I have a basset hound, or I had a basset hound, who's no longer with me, but he's somewhere else right now, who would always be by my side, and there was no way that I would ever close the door on him because he would whine. So if I was in the bathroom, he was in the bathroom. He was always with me. So especially when I was home alone, there was never me closing the door. But the door was closed and the dogs were outside the bathroom door howling and howling, and that's how I came to. And they're literally what saved my life. And my cell phone was just conveniently right above my head, and I texted, for some reason, I texted my ex-boyfriend 911, and the first time I tried, it didn't come through all the way, and then I had to focus, and then that's all I remember. And then, like, cut to, like, 2 days later, I'm in the hospital, and my mom's there, and I'm in the worst pain of my entire life. I have nerve damage in the whole left side of my body. I can't lift my arm above my belly button. I had burns on my back and burns on the inside of my butt in, like, this thick, this long, in a way that the doctors couldn't understand how they got there. And I realized just a few months ago, when I accidentally burned my finger on the stove, that, oh my gosh, I've never been burned like this before, this hurts so bad. And then I was like, wait, yes you have, but I just don't remember being burned, because I believe my body was in so much intense pain that it blocked it out. And plus I had also taken alcohol with Xanax, which is how this all started. I went to get help from a doctor, and they just prescribed me drugs, and I've never been a type of person to take drugs like this, and I just didn't want to feel pain anymore. I wasn't trying to kill myself, but I just didn't care, and it's the one and only time I've ever done anything like that in my life. And recently, because of the stuff that I started on the internet, on my Facebook page, people started to think that I was going to do something to harm myself. And it was not true. I was not planning on doing anything to harm myself. I was actually planning on doing really great things for what I thought was going to be for the earth. You can say I was in a bipolar, manic episode. That's what the doctors would say. I think a lot of other people on this planet are starting to think of mental disorders like that, maybe not so much as disorders. I kind of think of it as like a higher form of thinking, because when I'm in that state of mind, like, I think like 1,000,000 times a minute, and I don't have to sleep. Like, I feel kind of like invincible almost. Like I can do anything, and that's part of it. Like, the side effects of, I guess, being bipolar is thinking that you can do anything, and I don't really think that's a bad thing. Is having a desire to want to do something to change the world and help the planet and try to make good in the world around you. Like, that's when I get my greatest ideas. That's when I want to do the most good. And I lived my entire life without needing medication for it, and I've gotten by just fine. I've had a couple of issues here and there, but a lot of people go through stuff, and I've gotten through life perfectly fine. I mean, it has been a little bit harder than most, I guess, because I do have a lot of emotions, and I typically take on the emotions of other people. I'm very empathic, and I don't like it when other people have pain, and I especially don't like it when animals have pain, so it hurts me to be in a place like Hawaii where animals aren't really treated like they are on the mainland, and this has been something that I wanted to bring to the light and to ask people to help me with before my animals were ever taken from me. I want people to understand that Hawaii is not paradise for puppies. They are severely mistreated here and used for tools, like for hunting, and people do really terrible things to them. They keep them on chains the majority of their life. Some people starve them. Some people keep them in cages. I've seen people keep them in chicken coops, attached to cars. It's part of the culture here because animals were always tools back in the day, and it's just kind of still something that I think is part of the culture. But the way that the animals are treated with such disrespect, I think that has to do with the way that people treat each other. And I think a lot of that has to do with the fact that all the haoles, all the white men have come to this island and are doing things that they shouldn't be doing. And every moment that I'm here, I just think of things that I can be doing to help this island. And I don't know if that makes me a local, if that makes me, worthy of being here, but I love this island. And I have gone through so much stuff since I've been here. And they say, after 2.5 years, Pele is supposed to start taking it easy on you. So I'm hopeful that that is true, because I'm coming up on my 3-year mark in January. And I love this place, and I would do anything to help make this place better. And I think that there is a lot of things that people don't understand about Hawaii. As far as mental health care, there is a severe lack of it. There's only 4 hospitals in a 4,000-mile radius, and I was in the Kona Hospital in the mental health ward, and I had to go there 3 separate times. The 3rd time I had asked to go because I thought I had broken my foot, and the first 2 times were because people thought I had to go because I was endangering myself or others, and neither of those things are true. I've explained in depth what happened in my other videos, so maybe people can watch those. I don't think that what happened is relevant because I didn't hurt anyone. I caused some mischief, and it was all in the name of trying to help animals. So I don't really regret what I did. I would have done it in a different way that would have not made me end up going to a hospital to where my dogs were taken from me. But I think that it all happened for a reason, because I've been trying to come up with a way to talk about these issues and the things that I've been videotaping since I've lived here. I wanted to start a YouTube channel about this kind of stuff, but I didn't have the strength and bravery to do it, because it's really hard to try to talk about something that's ingrained in a culture that you respect and you don't want to disrespect in any way. I promise that's not my intention at all. I do not want to disrespect anybody. I just want people to understand that there's a better way to treat animals, And, you know, if you need to hunt, you can hunt with bow and arrow, or you can hunt with a gun. You don't need to starve dogs in order to get them to go and hunt after pigs and hurt themselves and get cut up, and, you know, people leave them to die when they get hurt. And I found one on the side of the road, the one that's laying on the floor right now. Her name is Peaches now, and she has scars all over her neck, and she is like the sweetest thing in the whole world, but someone just abandoned her, and you could tell that she was just a trash dog. Nobody cared about her. She had a stumpy tail, and she just looks like she kind of went through a meat grinder, and it's unfortunate because they lost out on a great dog, and, well, now I have her, but I don't know if this is karma because I have somebody else's dog. I don't think anyone was looking for her. I looked at Craigslist posts, but she has a very good life now. And so I'm trying to think of my dogs as having very good lives right now, being that they were taken from me. But the point of this video is to ask for people to help me try to get them back. I need a lawyer in Hawaii that can represent me for what happened, why I was taken to the hospital with force, things that were done to me by force in the hospital, drugs that were put inside my body without my consent, and then how my animals were almost killed the first time that I went to the hospital because they were left with no food and no water and no ventilation in the house. All the windows were closed, and they were left for 3 days, and the police were supposed to have animal control or someone come out and take care of them, and they didn't, and they almost killed my kids. And then the second time they took me away, they had the animal control get them, and the animal control was only supposed to have them for 10 days. I got out right in time. I was supposed to have someone, sorry about my phone, I was supposed to have someone give me enough money to get them out. It was only going to be $80. It was my dad who was supposed to send me money. I literally do not know where my father is. He was sent to rehab in Oahu because he has a drinking problem and needed to get a couple of surgeries, and I don't know where my father is. That was part of this whole thing. I was very stressed out about where my father was. He was supposed to help me get them out, and long story short, in my other videos, I ended up kind of freaking out that day, and this was after already freaking out 2 other times, but in my opinion, the 2 other times were not freakouts. I was just being connected to something else that I cannot explain. I've already tried to explain it in other videos. I'll upload them. But the point is, I had something happen to me that has never happened to me before. The chaplain at the church, or the chaplain at the hospital, said that it was my experience with the Holy Ghost. I never believed in God before, but I can say that I do believe in a God now, or some kind of higher spirit, something that has made all of this possible. I believe in evolution, I believe in science, but I also believe that there's too much magic in this universe that we don't understand, and we are all connected in a way that we don't understand, and we came from something great, and I get it now. It came to me in a way, and I can't explain it without sounding like a crazy person, so that's why I'm not even going to try to. In my other videos, I want to sound crazy. This video, I just want to ask people for help. For the people who want to be represented by me, I'm just kidding, but for the people who understand what I'm going through, like if you've ever had anything taken away from you that you love, I mean, that's pretty much any love ending story, like love ends, but this is something that didn't have to end. This isn't like someone broke up with me. This isn't like somebody died. My children were taken from me, and I need to get them back. Shh. They were taken from me, and they shouldn't have been. I'm the greatest mother in the whole world to them. And this is my family. I need every single one of them back. I need Remedy. I need Keebler. I need Ada. I have Dobby. I have Clover. And I also have Peaches now. They are literally my whole life. And I made some mistakes that got them taken away from me, but I have my side of the story, and I wanted to start all of this by trying to help people who go through the same kind of things as me, whether you say it's a mental disorder or honestly it's just there are so little people that I feel like I connect with anymore on this planet, and it's because of the way that I feel about animals and the way that I'm like always like feeling sad for the way that the world is, and it hurts. So that's why I want to ask people who understand like how I feel all the time, like whatever, if you want to call this a mental disorder, having great feelings for other people, having a very large capacity of empathy for others. I don't think that that's crazy. So that's why I wanted to ask people this. Hopefully will be seen by people who can help me. I'm talking about people like maybe Ellen DeGeneres, who I have her fish tattooed on my leg. I showed that in another video. I don't really feel like showing my hairy leg right now. Oh, just kidding. I'll show it. That's for you, Ellen. Just keep swimming. There it is. Okay. Someone like Ellen DeGeneres or Oprah or Tyra Banks or Kesha. Kesha, you have gone through some similar things, and it sucks when people don't believe you, and you've gotten me through so many hard times just with your music, and I call you my goddess of love, light, and rainbows, because that's how you are to me. And yeah, I need help from people who understand what I'm going through. It's hard to talk to anybody just in general right now, and I just need people who get it. Jim Carrey, this was something that I was going to just like write as a letter to you and then see if we could talk. Hopefully this will get to you. I wish I looked a little bit better, but I wrote to you when I was like 7 years old, and was it 7? Yeah, I was like 2nd grade, something like that. And I don't know if it was you or if it was someone who worked for you, but you wrote me back something like, don't ever change, or, you know, something inspiring like that. And it was like on a picture of your face. And I don't know if I still have it. My mom probably does, but I've been a fan of yours since I was a very young child, and I honestly think your mind is one of the greatest minds in the history of the planet, and I wish we could be friends. And if you could be my friend enough to help me out right now, that would be so great. I don't know how to live without my dogs, and I'm a good person. I was gonna do some good things. I came here to go to school to save the planet. I wanted to study marine biology, and I had so many ideas, and I've been struggling ever since I got here. I've had so many bad things happen to me, and I just keep going because I know that I'm meant to be here, and after seeing the way that animals are treated here, I have to make sure that people understand, and I have to make sure that there's change. And so, if this is what it takes for me to have to lose my own children, for me to have the courage to tell people, like, hey, I need help, Hawaii needs help. There's a lot of things here that are just backwards. The amount of homeless people that live here, and the amount of struggling that people have to do in order to just get by. It's not fair, and it shouldn't be like this. And I wanted to help people. And so I'm asking Jim Carrey, you of all people, can you please help me? Because I just feel like you understand the kind of thing that I've just gone through. You can watch my other long videos if I can get those to upload. Or maybe we can just chat. I don't know if that's a crazy person thing to think, but right now I'm really willing to do anything to get my children back. And I think that you just understand kind of what I've been going through, because it sounds like you've gone through something similar. And I know that I'm not crazy. I know that something happened to me, and it was some kind of magical, or whatever you want to call it, but I'm not crazy. And it ended up with me having to try to prove that in a hospital, and I did. And then my children were taken away from me, and the people who were supposed to protect them gave them away to people, and were supposed to give me the chance to get them back, and they never did. And they lied to the police, and it was this whole thing. The people in the hospital, the doctors, the nurses, they didn't want me to get my dogs back. Everyone was trying to get me to move back to the mainland and to just leave my dogs and to just throw in the towel, and they don't know who I am. So if this is crazy for me to ask for help from people like Ellen DeGeneres, who loves animals and does this kind of thing to help people all the time, I don't think it's crazy. I think Dr. Phil would also be someone who might be interested in me and my family. I was diagnosed with borderline personality disorder the first time I was in the hospital, and then this last time I was diagnosed with bipolar disorder. I have also been diagnosed with anxiety and depression, and I just try to stay happy all the time. Like, most people look at me like I'm a very happy person. I'm like the nicest person you've ever met. I try to get along with everyone, and I love animals, I love people, I talk a lot, and yeah, I'm like the fun kind of crazy. And the kind of crazy that I just recently have been, it was to prove a lot of points, and everyone just immediately thought that I was going insane, but I wasn't. I was just trying to prove a lot of points, and I did. How people can judge people just based on what they look like, what they sound like, but not if you're actually like listening to them. Like, I was trying to prove so many points about just the government and how women are not treated equally, and how just this world is so backwards, and how we're fighting wars that shouldn't matter, that we shouldn't be doing. It was a lot of stuff that I've been writing about, and I just decided to let it all out. And I did it in a creative way, and everyone thought I was losing my mind. And I didn't. It was something different. It was something that I can't explain completely in words that people will understand, because you have to understand what I'm talking about to get it, I think. It came from somewhere else. I felt something from somewhere else, and it was protecting me. It was protecting the dogs. It gave me ideas, and it's hard to explain, but I'm not a crazy person. I don't believe in the word crazy anymore. I think that we are just different levels of enlightened or not enlightened. I don't think that one is, not enlightened. I think there's just different levels, and I've gotten to the point where I understand that we are all one thing, and we are here for our own purposes, and we have our own ability to make our own realities. And that's why I know that all these little signs that I keep getting from the universe, and all my angel numbers, and all these weird things that people think that I'm very strange about believing in, there's signs that are just telling me I'm on the right path and I'm doing the right thing. And I really do believe that my dogs were taken from me to prove a point about how the systems work, how this is the kind of thing that happens to people all the time with their children, and I just have dogs, and it happens all the time where, somebody has something happen to them, and whatever you want to call it, you want to call it a breakdown, you want to call it a breakthrough, I didn't hurt anyone. I was coming up with really great ideas, and I was being creative, and whatever. I had my life taken away after going to the hospital in order to get help for what I needed. I had my house taken away, I had my children taken away from me, and I was literally left homeless after being put in the hospital for help. That is what happened. And then my animals were taken from me because they're like, oh, well, she doesn't have a house anyway. My house shouldn't have been taken from me. And even still, I was homeless with them before because of someone scamming me out of a house when I first moved here. And I ended up becoming homeless for 6 months, and I lived with my 5 dogs. And we made it work, and they had a great life. And I had another house within a couple of weeks of getting out of the hospital because I made it work. I figured it out. And I'm now working on making my property that's just bare land right now. I need help with that. And if I can get a little eco-friendly house on my property where the dogs will never be told that they can't live there, no one's ever gonna tell me I can't have them. I can make a fence that is indestructible and they can never get out of, and I won't have to worry about them. I have always been worried about them ever since I've moved here because of the unfortunate circumstances that we've had to live in, and it's given me PTSD for sure. Being homeless was very scary, and my dogs literally saved my life. Remedy saved my life. Not only did they save my life when my first incident happened and I was in the bathroom passed out, but when I moved here and we were homeless, my dog saved my life from someone trying to rape me in my car. I'm assuming that that's what they were going to try to do. It was 2 different guys, and she attacked one, and she saved my life, and she got them to go away from me, and that dog has saved my life in so many ways, and we are so connected, all of us, me and Keebler, me and Remedy, me and Ada. I've had them since I was 16 years old. I had Keebler. He's the love of my life. He's my baby, my little baby basset hound. And I've had Ada since the day she was born. And I've had Remedy. She's my little Walmart special puppy. I got her from a Walmart parking lot when I was going in to get dog food for my other dogs, and this lady said she was going to take them all to the pound, and I couldn't let that happen, and so she put all the puppies on the ground, and Remedy was the only one to walk towards me, and she said, "Oh yeah, that one's the runt," and I was like, "Oh, okay, I'll take that one," and she ended up being this gigantic dog, this big, huge, fluffy, husky girl that thinks she's a little lap dog. And she used to literally wake me up by breathing in my face every morning, or laying on my neck, which is where she used to sleep when she was a puppy. And I'd either have her breath in my face, or Keebler's breath in my face, or Ada. She's the alerter, so anytime there was something outside, she would bark first, and she was always the first one awake. And Ada is my little chihuahua that has literally been by my side since the day she was born. And she's afraid of her own shadow, not because of anything that I've done to her, but just because she's a scared little chihuahua. And I can't think of where she could be, where she's afraid and alone, and I just need to get my dogs back. This video is becoming longer than I wanted it to be. It's so hard to explain everything that happened, but I have more videos. This is me trying to ask for help from anyone who can. I will put the links of my GoFundMe page in the description box, and hopefully people can help me try to get a lawyer, try to get me in touch with Ellen DeGeneres, or Jim Carrey, or Kesha, or Oprah, Tyra Banks. You've always been one of my heroes. You look up for women, and that's a whole nother part of the story that I explained in my other video. I was just trying to look out for women, and I was just trying to do good things